Ayo, what's poppin', gamers? So I saw Avatar: The Way of Water. Yeah, the long-awaited sequel to the first Avatar, directed by James Cameron, is finally here, and it's three hours long. Hoo boy! But is it any good? Well, I'll just get this out of the way. The visual effects, as you could probably tell from the trailer, were absolutely fantastic. Despite how great the first Avatar looked, this was still a noticeable improvement. Just the skin textures and the world of Pandora they created with this movie, it all looks so tangible. It all looks like something you could reach out and touch, and looks like you yourself could walk into the world of Pandora. It was just breathtaking. And I especially have to give them credit for how great they made the underwater scenes look. Just all the different creature designs, as well as, the way, like, the hair physics, the way the hair moved when they were underwater. Just, chef's kiss. That was some top-notch CGI and special effects work. And, if you're just looking to watch a movie and just be sucked away into some great special effects and visuals, then I honestly don't think you could do a whole lot better than this movie. So yeah, the only points where the CGI became a little, noticeable to me in a not so great way were just a few shots where there's a human alone in a completely CGI environment. It kind of just made the special effects stick out a little more. But even then, I wouldn't say they looked bad. Just a little more noticeable than they would otherwise. So yeah, beyond that, all the other technical aspects of the movie I thought were pretty solid for the most part. I really enjoyed the score, which a lot of it was lifted from the first movie. And I'd have to say that most of the performances were pretty good as well. The only weak link I'd say performance-wise would have to be the actor for Spider. He's basically this human kid that's been growing up alongside the Na'vi. And I don't know, I just wasn't completely sold by this actor's performance. But to be fair, a lot of that might have had to do with the writing, which does kind of lead me into my biggest complaint with this movie. And from here on out, the review is going to get a lot more negative. But yeah, the writing of this movie just did not do it for me very much. Especially just given the fact that this sequel, you guys had 13 years to give us a interesting story and a good script, but I just do not think the movie delivered on that at all. For one, it more or less just recycles the same basic conflict from the first movie, that humans are bad, they want to, take over Pandora and exploit all its resources, and it very much carries over that same basic environmental message. But this time, it involves hunting whales and puts a lot more focus on, protecting the ocean and that kind of thing. Which, it's definitely a message I can get behind, but you're just not telling it in a very unique or compelling way, and you're kind of just spoon-feeding me this theme, which I'm already aware of from plenty of other media. And the fact that the first Avatar didn't really have the most groundbreaking story or anything, it was pretty just by the books and generic, makes it all the more disappointing that the sequel is just more or less just lifting the same story. And also, with this being a sequel, I was really hoping it would take the chance to just expand on the world and characters a little more. But unfortunately, I found that was pretty limited for the most part. Just take Jake Sully. I mean, say what you want about his character in the first one, he was pretty one-dimensional, but at least that character was given, growth and had an arc. Here, he more or less just remains the same static, action protagonist that we've all seen a billion times before. And it was just really weird that they didn't take any opportunity to flesh out his character or give him more growth or more depth. He mostly spends most of the movie just getting mad at his children, who just act like complete idiots throughout most of the movie. I swear, so much of the conflict in this movie just stems from Jake's children just acting like complete dumbasses who just disobey him every chance they get and then get themselves into trouble. This is most egregious towards the middle of the movie, where Jake's family has moved to this new water clan, and they're basically just trying to integrate themselves into this new tribe, because they're being hunted down by the villain and the rest of the humans. And yeah, this section of the movie just really dragged for me. A A lot of it just felt like super mundane family drama and teen drama, which was just super formulaic. And the dialogue throughout most of the movie as well was pretty awful a lot of the time. I mean, the most egregious example is the fact that half the words the child characters speak is just bro and cuz, which was a little cringe. It really felt like the writers were kind of out of touch and just trying to write what they thought young people sounded like, and it didn't really work for me. But I will say that towards the end, I think the movie does pick up. It's a lot more action heavy in the final third, and I think a lot of this action is pretty expertly filmed. So yeah, credit where credit is due. I was definitely invested in the action, although the story surrounding why the action was taking place didn't really grab me as much. And yeah, as far as some other characters, I thought Jake's wife, Neytiri, was pretty sidelined throughout most of the movie, which was kind of surprising, given how major of a role she had in the first Avatar movie. And she really doesn't get to do much until the final third, which, like I said, was easily the strongest point of the movie to me. And the villain, this is going to some minor spoilers, so I guess click away if you haven't seen the movie. But for the villain, they really just reuse Quaritch, which was really surprising. Quaritch, in case you forgot, is the villain in the first Avatar movie who gets killed, but is brought back because he was such a compelling character that they just really felt the need to bring him back. And I guess they do flesh him out a tiny bit more in this movie by giving him a son, who is Spider, who I mentioned earlier. But he still really has just a basic motivation of getting revenge against Jake Sully, which, I don't know, was just a little disappointing. I was just hoping for a little bit more from the villain. And the fact that they seem to be making him like the overarching antagonist of this entire series is kind of lame to me. Like, I just hope they do something to make him either a more compelling threat or flesh him out more. Because as he is, it's just, I don't really care about this character that much. And same goes for all the characters. 2 movies in, and I don't think this movie has really earned my investment with any of these characters or the story that's going on. But who knows, maybe the sequels will take more interesting directions and I could find myself caring a little more. But yeah, unfortunately, beyond the visuals, I just can't really find too much that I loved with this movie. Especially on the writing front, I thought this movie was pretty weak. And it was so generic to the point where it was just really taking me out of the experience for a lot of the time, and I couldn't even fully appreciate the visuals. So, yeah, overall, wasn't the biggest fan of this movie. I'd probably have to give it like a 3 out of 5. But who knows, maybe the next 100 Avatar sequels that James Cameron is making, maybe those will get my interest back a little more. But anyways, that's just my opinion on the movie. If you've seen it, I'd like to know what you think. And as always, thanks for watching. Good night.